Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripam Budhirya Tamaham Prapadye Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langete Girim Yatipatam Bande Shri Guru Dinataram Vanchakalpataru Vaishya Kripa Sindhu Vyaya Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. A warm welcome to everyone in the study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Enlightening subject matter, enlightening dialogue between Lord Shri Krishna and Arjuna, all aimed for our ultimate benefit actually. Bhagavad Gita is a study for excellence, to keep us on the excellence trajectory, on the excellence path. There's learning for everyone at every phase of one's life in Bhagavad Gita. It will help us in relationships, maintaining relationships, in finances, anger management, stress management, and all such things. But having said that, these are kind of, in a way, byproducts or side effects of reading Bhagavad Gita. The ultimate purpose is to fall in love with Krishna. The ultimate aim of Bhagavad Gita is to give our heart and soul to Krishna all together. No holding back. No holding back. So, okay, I start with asking this thing. What does water do? What do we see water doing? It's a bit of a loose way I'm asking it, but you can share any thoughts.
It flows.
Beautiful. This is what I wanted to hear, Evie. Yeah, water flows. By nature, water flows, right? And if water is not flowing, if it has gone stagnant, what is it called? Puddle? What does puddle mean, Evie?
Just a pool of still water, I guess, muddy.
Yeah, which isn't flowing, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So water, it naturally flows. And if it's not flowing, then it's stagnant. It's collected and it's staying in one place. It's like puddle or quite muddy. And we don't like puddle. Water is good when it's flowing. Water is good when it is flowing. Puddle, only children, only kids, okay, like to jump on it, play. And adults as such, they wouldn't really play so much. Or even if they play, it will be very short-lived, and then, okay, it's a puddle, how much can we get out of it? And then they would be careful also playing with puddle, playing in the puddle, that our dress may get dirty, our hands, feet, and all may get dirty. We may collect some germs, we may get some infection and all. So they would vary playing in a puddle. But kids, they wouldn't. Children, they wouldn't think, it wouldn't cross them that, oh, my dress may get dirty, my hands, feet may get dirty, I may carry some infection, germs. No. So kids would happily play in puddle. And how much of joy do we get in puddle? And these are the things which we get out of playing in a puddle, is it not? We dirty our feet, we dirty our hands, our dress, high chance of getting some infection, germs and all. And this is our nature in this material world. Material world is nothing like a puddle only. It's nothing like a dirty water only in that sense. But we are so childlike in our consciousness. so childish in our consciousness that we love playing this puddle, in this puddle of material world, jumping and collecting so much of dirt, germs, infection, unhealthy behavior, thoughts, desires, unhealthy energy, unhealthy expressions of our self-love. And we are very much fixed up. Okay, every now and then we want to jump in that puddle. We again want to jump in that puddle, out of that puddle. But again, when we see an opportunity, we want to jump in that puddle. And any wise person, he wouldn't really jump in that puddle. He would bypass it. He would bypass it and would move further on. So likewise, Bhagavad Gita teaches us that water is very good when it is flowing, when you see water flowing, and it's the natural thing. If water is spilled, it naturally wants to flow. So likewise, our consciousness is also like a river flowing to the sea. We don't like stagnation in our life, and Bhagavad Gita, the practice of Krishna consciousness, will never put us in the stagnant mode, stagnant mode. So likewise, we should always be Bhagavad Gita, the practice of Krishna consciousness, chanting of the holy names of Krishna, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, will always keep us flowing towards Krishna, flowing our expressions of love towards Krishna. And we realize that we have just one life, honestly speaking, we have one life only. When we become a sadhaka, we should be very fixed up. This is my only life. This is my only life, and I dedicate myself fully to Krishna and loving and serving Krishna without any reservations or hesitations. Then we want to have this natural flow of love towards Krishna and no more playing around with puzzle. So with that prayer, with that mood, with that desire, it's not like a theoretical study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. That okay, let's move on. Not like a mechanical study of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text this, chapter 6, text that, and all. Whatever we do, we want to do it with how. So how can we step up? How can we have more power, more and more appreciation for Krishna, for this fascinating dialogue, for Guru and Gauranga? With that hope, with that mood, with that desire, with that prayer, with that thought, with that understanding, we attempt, we try, we love to study Bhagavad Gita, and on this note, we study our today's shloka, and as much as Krishna allows us to go on for today. So it's chapter 5 and text 29, the last text of chapter 5. And before we go on reading, yesterday I mentioned that this is a very practical message in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the very, very, very practical message. So far, whatever we have read up until chapter 9 and even beyond, we'll find all practical messages only actually. But this is very practical, and maybe I will ask you guys, if you think you can straight away listening to the translation, do you find it practical or not? Let us know if you can relate to it and how much practical you find it. So let's share my screen, and this is the prayer that we study this shloka and pray that we can understand some inspirational, deeper and deeper meaning of it, something that keeps us very occupied, Krishna consciously. All right, so if you would want to attempt reading the Sanskrit as well, Sanskrit and translation, and then talk about.
I'll give it a go, Prabhu. I can't really see it. Sorry, my phone's me. But Bhuktaram Yagna Tapasam Sagaloka Maheshwaram Durudam Sarva Bhutanam Jnatva mam santim rachati.
Very nice. Doktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. Actually, in this attempt, in this study of our Bhagavad Gita, we are just trying to read the shloka translation purport. We are not going into word meanings. But I would strongly recommend and encourage in our personal study, we should read the word meanings as well. And the word meanings in here fascinating. Each and every shloka very fascinating. Okay, so let's see the translation and purport then. Kiwi, are you okay reading translation?
A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Shall you read purport?
The conditioned souls within the clutches of the illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world. But they do not know the formula for peace, which is explained in this part of the Bhagavad Gita. The greatest peace formula is simply this: Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Men should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord because He is the proprietor of all planets and the demigods thereon. No one is greater than He. No one is greater than He. He is greater than the greatest of the demigods. Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. He is greater than the greatest of the demigods, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is described as Tama Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram. Under the spell of illusion, living entities are trying to be lords of all they survey. But actually, they are dominated by the material energy of the Lord. The Lord is the master of material nature, and the conditioned souls are under the stringent rules of material nature. Unless one understands these bare facts, it is not possible to achieve peace in the world, either individually or collectively. This is the sense of Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna is the supreme predominator, and all living entities, including the great demigods, are his subordinates. One can attain perfect peace only in complete Krishna consciousness. This fifth chapter is a practical explanation of Krishna consciousness, generally known as Karma Yoga. The question of mental speculation as to how Karma Yoga can give liberation is answered herewith. To work in Krishna consciousness is to work with the complete knowledge of the Lord as the predominator. Such work is not different from transcendental knowledge. Direct Krishna consciousness is Bhakti Yoga. Jnana Yoga is a path leading to Bhakti Yoga. Krishna consciousness means to work in full knowledge of one's relationship with the Supreme Absolute. And the perfection of this consciousness is full knowledge of Krishna, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A pure soul is the eternal servant of God as his fragmental part and parcel. A pure soul is the eternal servant of God as his fragmental part and parcel. He comes into contact with Maya, illusion, due to the desire to lord it over Maya. And this is the cause of his many sufferings. As long as he is in contact with matter, he has to execute work in terms of material necessities. Krishna consciousness, however, brings one into spiritual life even while one is within the jurisdiction of matter. For it is an arousing of spiritual existence by practice. In the duties in the material world, arousing of spiritual existence by practice in the material world. The more one is advanced, the more he is freed from the clutches of matter. The more one is advanced, the more he is freed from the clutches of matter. The Lord is not partial toward anyone. The Lord is not partial toward anyone. Everything depends on one's practical performance of duties in Krishna consciousness, which helps one control the senses in every respect and conquer the influence of desire and anger. Everything depends on one's practical performance of duties in Krishna consciousness, which helps one control the senses in every aspect and conquer the influence of desire and anger. And one who stands fast in Krishna consciousness, controlling the above mentioned passions, remains factually in the transcendental stage, or Brahma Nirvana. The Eightfold Yoga mysticism is automatically practiced in Krishna consciousness because the ultimate purpose is served. There is a gradual process of elevation in the practice of yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. But these only preface perfection by devotional service, which alone can award peace to the human being. It is the highest perfection of life. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purpose to the 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Karma Yoga or action in Krishna consciousness. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Hare Krishna. Any question or comment before we try to study a bit more? Okay. So I'll bring the translation once again. Chapter 5, page 29. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So this is a stoka where Krishna is giving his more identity. Who he is. Taram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarva bhutana yatva mam shantim vichati. So Krishna is giving more knowledge about himself, revealing himself, his identity, who he is. And when we know Krishna, who he is, then only we will experience real peace in life. As devotees say, right? What? If we know God, when we know God, when we know Krishna, when we know God, then we know peace, we experience peace, we realize peace in life, calmness, stability, sanity. And when we do not know God, when we do not live in a relationship with God, no God, no peace. When there's God completely out of the equation, then there's no peace. I mean, it's like saying, okay, to have a meaningful life without having a meaning in life. Is it possible to have a meaningful life without having a meaning in life? Possible to have a purposeful life without having any purpose in life. It's like saying, yeah, to be having a value in life without following any values, principles, any sort of disciplines, ethics, morality. Oh, how can we have a meaningful life, purposeful life, without having any meaning, any definition, any understanding of it? We very much live in theory, so it's very easy to say, as long as I'm not hurting someone, as long as I'm not. But how much do we contemplate? Are we hurting someone? Did we hurt someone? It's very easy to say. No? This is why I say, like, book distribution is a very great service. Why? Because it's like book distribution is a reflection of the mirror of the society, or it can also act as it also works as a reflection of the consciousness I myself am carrying. Yeah. Book distribution definitely is a reflection of the conviction I am carrying, conviction I have in the practice of Krishna consciousness. And book distribution is such a service. It's like it puts one straight into surrender. One is made helpless. One has to surrender. One is surrender. Doesn't matter how good one is at book distribution, how not so good, and how much one relishes or not relishes, how much one is naturally attracted towards distributing books, or one is like very scared of doing books. If we done some book distribution, right? In Harinam or Rath Yatra.
Very few. Very few. I did some at home as well.
Was it in Edinburgh or Rath Yatra you first tried doing some books?
Harinam in Glasgow.
All right, Harinam.
I gave out one book. Yeah.
All right, nice. So yeah.
And some to my family, but that doesn't really count.
Oh, that's fine, yeah. And that's also part of doing books, but like more traditionally speaking, in streets, approaching people, say, shops and all, and houses, door to door, wherever, not in some festivals. So the message is, when we know Krishna, then we can experience real peace. Actually, this shloka, this translation, it works as a balm, as a soothing balm in our burning chest. It works as a soothing balm. It can work as a soothing balm in our burning chest, because the only thing lacking in our life is knowledge of Krishna, understanding of Krishna. That is lacking. So it's again, in society very much we live in a theoretical state. We are like a ghost. We are like ghosts. Or we are haunted by ghosts. When we are possessed or haunted by ghosts, we don't know what we are saying. We don't have any reflections as well, because we are possessed by ghost. Now, whatever the ghost says, ghost is actually speaking, because I've been possessed and I don't know what I'm speaking. So in that sense, in society, we see many times, we hardly find someone who would genuinely say, okay, I'm a bit of a lost soul in that sense. Many more people we meet who say, oh, as long as I don't hurt someone. I never tried to hurt someone. I never offend, upset someone. I tried to be very good in my life with everyone. In all my relations, like many times we hear in India, some girl uh, after marriage and all, she says, in my mother's place, we never had this thing and all. And in my mother's place, you can check, I was always respected, this and that. So much so, like I never did any wrong to anyone. How come this has come upon me? How come this has come upon me? Do we really assess? Do we really can say we never did any wrong? I never thought of ill of someone. We don't do any good self-evaluation, and we cannot, until and unless we ourselves are practicing some spiritual practice, we cannot evaluate ourselves. We cannot. Also, evaluation has to be done by Guru and Gauranga. No? Someone who is way much more wiser than us only can actually evaluate me. Again, when we see in, going out for books and books predominantly, people like, as long as I have a sort of meaningful life. How would one have a meaningful life without having any meaning in life? Is it possible? To have a purposeful life without having leading life by a purpose with a purpose. What's our meaning in life? Is it just to pay our bills on time and keep the house clean and go on holidays properly, free our mortgages? It's just that what life means. That from ashes we come and into ashes we go again. Or is there more to life? So this shloka, Krishna is revealing himself, is giving us his more identity. There are three things predominantly in life. Krishna is saying, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam. Bhoktaram means enjoyer. So I am the supreme enjoyer of all what? Yagya Tapasam, of all sacrifices and austerities. Whatever sacrifices and austerity one does, Krishna should be the recipient, the benefactor of it. Then only our sacrifice and austerity has got value. But if I do any sacrifice and austerity, which isn't in a way to please Krishna, which isn't directed to please Krishna, which isn't, then there won't be a change in heart, there won't be a transformation in heart. Then our hearts won't get softened. We wouldn't experience. If we are having a heavy heart, we cannot experience peace. People get heart attack. We say, doctors say, oh, there was lots of blockage. There's lots of blockage. We need to clear this blockage. There's heaviness. There's no, the blood is, blood clot, the blood is not able to move around. Likewise, when we are also very heavy in our heart, carrying lots of emotions unwanted or wrongly, lots of grudges and hatred, harsh feelings, lots of animosity, lots of greed, lots of expectations for sense gratification, desires to, oh, I want this, I want that, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. That makes our heart heavy, and it builds up. So it makes the heart heavy. And with a heavy heart, we cannot experience peace. We cannot experience calmness, sanity in life, no? Krishna is declaring, Krishna is revealing himself. So it's such a blessing. Krishna is freeing us from this sense enjoyment mentality. Wow, it's such a blessing because sense enjoyment is the biggest pain. Sense enjoyment, endeavoring towards sense enjoyment is the biggest stumbling block, is the biggest kind of illusions, is the biggest obstacle we are creating for ourselves. As they say in transcendental understanding, independently enjoying of Krishna, desire to enjoy independent of Krishna, independent sense enjoyment is the biggest sin. That's the definition of sin. Sin is what? Anything we want to do for our enjoyment, leaving aside Krishna, outside of Krishna, it's sin. That's the transcendental definition of sin. Now it could be, one could be a truthful person, but if that truth is not to for some sense enjoyment outside of Krishna, not to bring us closer to Krishna, then it's a sin only. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj, he didn't lie, he was hesitating to lie. But and for that he had to go through some reactions because Krishna desired something and Yudhishthira Maharaj wasn't fully himself willing to do what Krishna desired. Again, Yudhishthira Maharaj in his pure constitution is a pure devotee of Krishna. But these pastimes are enacted by Yog Maya for us to understand. We cannot say, oh, Yudhishthira Maharaj also went wrong. No. We cannot say that. But Yudhishthira Maharaj was chosen for this thing. So, Krishna, whatever sacrifices, austerities, penances, life is full of struggle and hardship. We are doing it. But if we do not make Krishna the benefactor of it, then we will not experience peace. That's one thing. Why we do not experience peace? When we put Krishna out of the equation and put ourselves in the center. When we ourselves want to become sense enjoyers and forgetting Krishna, then we do not experience peace. We are enjoyers, we will enjoy, we will get tremendous sense enjoyment, but that is through service, by loving and serving Krishna. Then we will get real sense enjoyment. Our senses will get real soothing, real satisfaction. Otherwise, there is no way. How much we indulge ourselves in binge eating, binge drinking, binge sleeping, whatnot, whatever. Socially acceptable, socially not so acceptable, culturally acceptable, not so acceptable, morally acceptable, not so acceptable. In whatever sense we indulge ourselves, or even not indulging, but we put ourselves in sense enjoyment activities, trying to get some enjoyment for our mind and senses. When we exert efforts to get some enjoyment for our mind and senses, meaning exploiting the material resources, exploiting the material nature for my own peace, for my own enjoyment, my own satisfaction, then we are creating more trouble, we are creating more chaos for ourselves, not peace actually. Even if individually or for my family's sake, for my society, for nationality, for the whole nation or beyond, whatever. But if Krishna is not in the picture, then we wouldn't experience real peace. Krishna is saying that I am the supreme enjoyer, make me the benefactor. And we try to see a bit more. So, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is the supreme controller, supreme proprietor, supreme owner of all the planetary systems, of all the universes. Not only this material universe, all the material universes and far beyond. Only Krishna is the supreme proprietor, supreme controller, supreme owner. And Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. Only Krishna can afford to claim and say that I am the well-wishing friend of everyone. Everyone. Why? Because he is residing in our hearts, everyone's hearts, not just humans, plants, birds, water bodies, every living entity, and not just living entities, even matter. Krishna is holding. We are existing, we are able to speak and all because of the blessing of Krishna, because Krishna is still giving energy to this body, to this soul proper. That's why we are functioning ultimately. So because Krishna is dwelling in all of our hearts, witnessing, guiding us, purifying us, helping us, listening to us, caring for us, concerned for us, he is our ultimate well-wisher, ultimate friend. Now, say this, if someone starts a factory, opens a shop, a factory, say, he puts all the money in, or he makes all the financial arrangements, the financial investment. So who would receive the profit? To whom the profits will go? Obviously to the person who set up the company, right? He's the one who started the company. He's the one who has made all the investments. He's the one who has paid all, brought about all the money. So whatever profits that person will only get. Then one who starts the company, he's the one who controls the company as well. He's the one who controls the company. He can control the workings of the company, the laws and everything. Suppose a printing factory, someone sets up a printing factory. So he's the one who gives all the money, brings all the money, who buys all the machines, who hires all the labor, all the staff, all the people, all the engineers, and then he is the one who facilitates everyone's stay, food, facilities in the factory for their working and everything. So who will be the recipient again of all the profits? It is the person who has set up the factory, printing factory. He is going to receive all the benefits and all, and he's the controller. And when the staff, managers, whosoever, when they know, okay, he's the person who set it up all, he's the supreme controller, and we are working and all, and we make efforts and all, so that the company makes money, so that he makes money, then we will be feeling very peaceful. Then we will experience peace, where there won't be any difficulties in our pay. We will be getting proper pays, our pay scale will be fine and everything. And naturally, we will experience peace when we strive to work for the company, when we strive to work for this person, when we put in efforts to help this person grow, because of the investments, because of the money, because of the efforts, the technology, the every aspect, and because he's providing us everything. Does it make some natural sense?
Yes, it does.
And if the employee, there's so many, each company, they've got so many rules and regulations, is it not? So that there's no faulty practices going on within the company. So if the employee, say he's in a higher position or lower position, whichever position, tries to cheat the company, say he takes some raw materials, some stock with him, or he does some fraud with cash, doesn't maintain accounts properly, tries to put some money in his own pocket, or he does some sort of insider trading, money laundering, all such sort of things and all. Any slight smartness he tries to apply, using what? All the resources provided by the owner of the company. Whose are those resources? The owner of the company. Who provided the cement, the bricks, the cafeteria, everything? The owner of the company set it up, everything. The money, the procurement of machines, how to use those machines and all that knowledge from HR, IT, finance, every department is the owner of the company who brought about all of this. And if an employee, doesn't matter whatever designation he is, if he tries to act any smart, anything out of the way of the guidelines, the rules, regulations, the policies of the company, anything which is not in line, he will be punished. There could be some verbal warning, there could be some disciplinary action, there will be some disciplinary action, there will be some verbal warning, so much so that he may have to lose his job instantly, straight away. Or he may be given a warning and left out. So the message is, when we try to poke in with nature, when we try to poke in, play around with material nature, which is all provided by Krishna's arrangement, not for my sense gratification, rather to help me build my relationship with Krishna. See, we are living in this, residing in this material body, right? The spirit soul is engaged in this material body. Now, because we are in this material body, and there's this time factor, so we need some engagement, we need some activities for us to function, for the proper well-being, holistic, complete holistic well-being of our body, mind, senses, our intellectual capacity, our egoistic capacity, all our faculties of existence. But this will all come about nicely when we channelize, when we make use of this material resources, everything, in a way we use them to bring ourselves closer to Krishna, rather than trying to squeeze in these resources for my own personal agenda, own personal sense gratification, even on, or say, my friends, partners, family, relatives, society, nation, internationally, then we wouldn't experience peace. So this is such a blessing. Krishna is revealing himself. Krishna is giving his identity. In each and every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we will find there's some shlokas which stand out altogether. And chapter 7 to chapter 12, they are the heart of Bhagavad Gita set. Therein, each and every shloka will be so lofty, so elevated. And again, like chapter 4 is very different altogether. Chapter 15, when we come to reading chapter 15, and many others for that matter, but we'll find in each and every chapter there's some shlokas which are strikingly attracting our attention. So coming again, a person, the same example, a person who has set up that factory, a person who has set up that manufacturing unit, the company, he has brought in all the money, the investments, the policies and all. So now if we do not adhere by those policies, then then time is ticking. And we may escape, say we may live in a work for a company, and we may dodge the company, we may cheat the company, and we may become successful. We may get some money out of it, we may get some other opportunity out of it, some other benefits out of it. But we cannot dodge this law of material nature. No way. No way. We can dodge it. And if we try to, then as we act, the reaction will come about. Reaction will definitely come about. So Krishna is saying again that I am the provider, I am the not just maintainer, I am the proprietor, I am the owner, the controller of all the material and all the material and spiritual planets, everything of all the universes within the material creation and beyond. And one who is the owner, one who is the proprietor, one who is the source, surely he is going to be the enjoyer only. When we start up something, we get the profits. We don't say, okay, direct the money to my neighbor's home. No. So we receive all the money. Likewise, Krishna should be receiving all the enjoyments, because we are also catered to the joy of Krishna. Actually, we are Prakriti. We are Prakriti. Prakriti meaning female by nature. Enjoyer, Krishna is the only supreme enjoyer. Bhoktaram yajna tapasa. Of all sacrifices, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. And our enjoyment is vicarious to Krishna's enjoyment. Our enjoyment is, the more we try to give pleasure to the senses of Krishna, the more enjoyment we will receive. The more we try to give pleasure to Krishna. Through chanting his holy names, assembling with devotees, attending Kirtan, reading Srimad Bhagavatam in company of devotees, engaging ourselves in loving devotional service in the company of devotees, in the association of devotees. So this is a peace formula. We try to understand a bit more how practical is this peace formula. When we function in a company, we naturally function, like a girl when she's married, say, a bit of a loose example perhaps, in say Indian setting, cultural setting and all, when she goes to her new home, say, she knows about the workings of the new home, she tries to understand and all, and she's following kind of those lines, then yeah, very nice. Any relationship, if we understand, actually practicing Krishna consciousness, will realize that life is meant to serve. This should be our mantra, right? Life is meant to serve. I'm here to serve. And the more we revive, the more we come about in our serving attitude, serving mentality, serving position, the more peace we will experience. The more enjoyment we will get. So enjoyment is through service. It's through real service. Enjoyment isn't through becoming in the center, coming in the center. No, we cannot be in the, we cannot afford to the heat, maintaining the heat or taking in the heat of being in the center. Only Krishna can afford to be in the center, not us. And we will enjoy when we let Krishna be in the center. So here Krishna is directly claiming, only he can claim it. He's clearly, in simple terms, is directly clearly claiming that I am the source, I am the controller, proprietor, owner of all universes. I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices and penances, of all austerities. And then I am the well-wishing friend as well. See, for us, it's hard to digest. It's hard to take in. For someone, depends, if we are very much materially attached, it will be very hard for us to take in. What? Oh, Krishna saying, I am the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices and penances. He is the supreme enjoyer. Look, now we do sacrifice, we do austerity, and he should enjoy. He is the enjoyer. Is that the case now? Look, what sort of God is this? Because we live in so much of this mentality that God is here to facilitate me. God is there to help me, to make me enjoy. God, you should work, I should enjoy. That sort of motto, logo we follow, is it not? God, you work, you do arrangement, you do all the situations, adjustments, you do the things and all for me to be happy in my life. You do all the arrangements and make me happy. I should be the becoming happy. I deserve to be happy. And it is your duty. We ask God, God, you have a duty to perform. You have an act to perform, Krishna. Your duty, your act is to make me happy. So come on, fan me. Huh? Who are we? Paupers, not even paupers, but we ask Krishna, okay, come on, please me, fan me. Oh, if doesn't, then what sort of God are you? We so much heavy in our ego, we struggle to handle this. Okay, Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. But when we fall in love with Krishna, when we associate with devotees, when we chant the holy names of Krishna, then we attain lots of purity. And actually, when we chant the holy names of Krishna, we'll experience how much joy are we getting, even though our chanting is very faulty, it's very slackened state, it's not very attentive state, but yet we experience such a high joy. Evie, any thoughts on japa?
How so? Sorry.
Any thoughts on japa?
In regards to Krishna being the supreme enjoyer?
No, in regards to your japa, how do you find chanting on beats?
Oh, right. Yes, it's definitely something that sort of starts to flow when you practice it more and more, and sort of the more rounds you do, it becomes more natural and yeah, less like effort, and it becomes more like it's just kind of, I don't know.
Nice. So, you were saying something more? So, this is sort of mental, it's hard to digest. Oh, Krishna is saying, I am the supreme enjoyer. So, God is declaring, I am the supreme enjoyer. But actually, if we associate with devotees, we'll find out, thank God, Krishna, you mentioned this. See, I asked this question, what do you think? What are the reasons why we get into stress? Why we stress ourselves up? See how this is a peace formula. Why do we stress ourselves? Why do we get into stress? What causes stress?
Believing that everything is for us in a way, and sort of taking everything quite selfishly, I suppose.
Nice, yeah, fair enough. There would be many such things and all, but predominantly what are some common, say, principles or thoughts which lead us into stress? Anuja, Harsha, Neha, Evie, others, if they want to say anymore.
It could be blaming ourselves for any damn reasons, or probably feeling guilty and then stressing yourself.
Nice, yeah. All this we can speak from our experience, right? At some point in our life, we would have felt stress, we would have gone into stress, we would have experienced some stress, and stress is a natural emotion. It's a natural, it's kind of natural in the state, because what more do we expect in material world? What more do we expect in material world? We will expect stress only in material world, no more as such. I mean, if we are in ocean, then we are bound to get wet. We cannot be living in an ocean. We cannot be in ocean and not getting wet. No, so we do not have that sort of waterproof and things that we won't get wet. So, what leads stress? See, it is not knowing this leads into stress, and it is knowing this which gives us freedom. So, how? Stress is caused when we live in a very enjoying mentality. When we put ourselves as the enjoyer, then when we ourselves make ourselves to be the enjoyer, then what happens? We do austerities and sacrifices. Why? To make ourselves the enjoyer. I better get the enjoyment. I better get the enjoyment. Generally, in our speaking, we do not say in such cross, blunt, harsh words straight away. But through our actions or within ourselves, whatever we do, we want to make ourselves the enjoyer, then we are very control freak as well. We want to have some control. Now, to the degree we want to exercise control, to the degree we want to get control, gain control, to that degree we will experience stress as well. Because life is full of duality. We can never have full assurance, full control. No, the control we get is based on our karma only, on our fortune, or our karma which has been, on the fortune coming out of our karma. This is why some people have a bit more control, some have less control. But this desire to have a controllership, it leads to stress. This desire to be enjoying. There's a slight difference between happiness and enjoyment. There's a difference, maybe slight or more than slight. Subtle difference, or that could be a huge difference between happiness and enjoyment, which maybe we'll try to understand another day. Because maybe I would like to stick myself a bit more with this shloka. To strive to be happy is not a bad thing as such. It's natural. But the problem is when we put ourselves to be the enjoyer, when we make ourselves to be the enjoyer. The moment we get ourselves in that consciousness, in that zone, in that thought process activity, that I'm the enjoyer, I be the enjoyer, that means we want to squeeze in material resources. Or there is something and I want to get it for my enjoyment. Or again, my enjoyment, or my family's, my child, my this enjoyment, that enjoyment and all, which is what an extended ego. And one is a self-ego for my enjoyment. Then for my nation's enjoyment, it's a extended ego. Extended sense gratification. So stress comes about when we put ourselves as enjoyer. Because again, this is a world of duality. We won't always be receiving that enjoyment, getting that enjoyment. But now we are plagued by this sense enjoyment mentality. So we want to do everything so that I get enjoyment. And I think once I get enjoyment, I will be peaceful. Since eternity, we have been working so hard to satisfy our senses, to gratify our senses, but we have received no peace out of it. Srila Rupa Goswami beautifully explains. It comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita and in his writings and teachings, and he says to Mahaprabhu, Kamadinam katina katita palita durnideshas tesham jata maina karuna natrapana upashanti utsarjetan thayadupate sampratam labda buddhis tvamayata sharanam abhayam mam niyukshatma dasya. He tells Mahaprabhu, he opens his heart altogether. Again, Srila Rupa Goswami is a transcendental personality. It is not for himself, it is his humility. Or this is the mood of practicing devotional service, to invoke humility, genuineness. So genuinely what? Kamadinam katina katita palita durnideshas. So I've been since eternity plagued by lust, not just physical sensual lust. Lust means craving, desire to again enjoy. So I've been trying to satisfy my senses since eternity so hard. My eyes, ears, nose, and everything. Mental sense enjoyment, this sense enjoyment, egoistic. So I've been working so hard to enjoy my senses, to please, to gratify, to feel myself. And advertisements, there's so many fashion-oriented companies, right? This makeup-oriented companies, dressing companies, clothes, apparels, fashion companies and all. What do they say? Like love yourself, other such slogans, right? Self-care, all this. Self-care is definitely good. If you want to know self-care, then know the super self. Who is the real self? This is a self-care. When we get to know Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, Krishna is the supreme proprietor, Krishna is the supreme well-wisher. It brings us so much of peace. We experience real peace when we understand, oh, thank God I'm not God. because I've been acting so hard, like as if I am the God, as if I am the controller, as if I am the enjoyer, as if I am someone's well-wisher. Oh, my dear child, my dear son, do not worry. I will help you out. I can get things done for you. I will do it. Have faith in me. Put faith in me. All these things we are carrying in ourselves, that we are the enjoyer, we are the controller, we are the helpers, we are the well-wishers. We can help. And because of this, we bring stress in our life. Because this is not our real constitutional position. No, this is Krishna. We can be enjoyer, but when we allow ourselves to be used by Krishna, then we can be controllers when we understand how to respect and how to live and work with the energies of Krishna. Then that we can be well-wisher when we again understand our relationship with Krishna and attract that grace, that purity, that mercy. Then we can act as a vessel of compassion in someone's life. But again, unless we are in a relationship with Krishna, unless we live in a relationship with Krishna, unless we know Krishna, how can we actually experience real peace? Again, it's same like saying, oh, living a meaningful life without any meaning in life. How is it possible to have a meaningful life? There's no lack of, in society, there's no lack of people who would have some moral lessons and all. Oh, I live by this principle, I live by that. But we should check out for ourselves how much we value those moral principles in ourselves. So, Kamadinam Patina Patita Padita Durni Deshas. Since eternity, I've been trying to gratify my senses. But the more I try to put myself in controlling position, the more I try to put myself in enjoying position, the more I try to put myself in well-wishing position, the more stress I get. Srila Rupa Goswami says that the more I try to put myself like feeding my senses, I become the servant of my senses. And they are such bad masters. They're such bad masters that I've been shamelessly serving them since eternity. And they're not paying me a penny for it. They're not giving me any good pay, any proper pay. And they're squeezing all services from me. And I'm getting nothing in return. But now, I give it up, Utsarjetan, I give it up altogether. Yadupate, you're the master, the lord of the Yadu dynasty. Utsarjetan atha Yadupate. Now, therefore, I give it up altogether, this pushing myself for sense enjoyment. And I take your shelter. And I take your shelter, and you provide me this fearlessness. Give me this fearlessness. And I, Mam Niyukta Atmadasya, please engage me in your service. I would like now to be used in your service. So far, I have allowed myself to be used by your external energy, Maya Devi, as a puppet. And dancing to the tunes of Maya. Now I want to dance to the tunes of your flute. Now I surrender yourself to you. Make me fearless and use me in your loving service. So stress comes because we constantly want to enjoy. We consider ourselves to be the enjoyers. We are the enjoyers. Again, life is meant to enjoy also. Life is meant to be happy, but we need to understand how to become happy, how to get that enjoyment. What is the process of becoming enjoyment, of becoming the enjoyer or getting enjoyment? It's only when we serve the senses of Krishna, then only our senses will experience a real bliss, joy, happiness, enjoyment in life. The more control we give Krishna in life, then only we will experience more control in our life. But in paradox, in societal dealing, the more control we believe, we think, the more control I get in my life, the more control I will be in. The more control I have. Oh, I should have control over this, you should have control over that. Oh, and then I will be in more control. When things are in my control, then I will be more peaceful. No, when we let things to be in Krishna's control, there are two ways we can live our life. Two thoughts, two beliefs, not beliefs as such, two thoughts, two ways we can live our life. Two positions. One is when we want to be in control of things. When we want to be in control of things, when we want to be in control of persons, people, when we want to control people, when we want to control objects, resources, things, when we want to essentially live in this identity, in this understanding, definition, mood, mindset, consciousness, that what? I am the controller. I want to be in control of. I want to be in control of. Another is I want to be in care of. I am the carer, I am the caretaker. Just like laptop, for an example. I want to be in control of this laptop, or I want to be in care of this laptop. So it's much better if the whole of Bhagavad Gita again is to help us shift ourselves, move ourselves from in control of mentality to in care of mentality. Arjuna lost control. He was confused altogether. He lost control. But then he let Krishna. He let himself to be used by Krishna. He allowed himself. He gave himself to Krishna. He listened to what Krishna had to say. And then he fought, but fought not as in making himself the controller. He fought as a carer, because he knew the three things. One is this enjoyment mentality, controlling mentality, and then we consider ourselves to be the well-wisher, meaning I am the doer, this doer mentality. कोई नहीं, मैं हूं ना, है ना? People say ना, ओ तेरा भाई है ना, देख लेगा तेरा भाई. मैं हूं ना, बेटा आप चिंता मत करो, हम है ना अभी, हम सब सॉर्ट आउट कर देंगे. बेटा आप चिंता मत करो, भैया आप चिंता मत करो, मैं हूं ना. आपके समझो आपका पैसा सेफ है, आपकी ये सेफ है, आपका वो, बस आप मेरे को बता दिया ना आपने, बस अब आप घर जाओ, अब आप आराम करो, मैं हूं ना, मैं सब संभाल लूंगा, मैं सब कर लूंगा, अब घबराओ मत, मैं हूं ना, मैं हूं ना. People sometimes say it's good, it's fine, culturally, socially, behaviorally. Like once I happened to see, experience or see it for myself actually. It was a bit of a shock for me, a bit of a awkward thing for me. What had happened? Suddenly, someone's parents had passed away, and suddenly, in a car crash, in some accident, one of my friends' parents passed away, and then I know his family. So one of his uncles, he came and he said, don't think that your mom and dad are no more, on those lines and all. I'm your parents, we are your parents, we are your guardians. We will look after you, we will support you, we'll give you everything. We are on those lines. These are good words, and such words should be spoken and all. But at that time, in that situation itself, within myself, I was a bit laughing. But I said, look, uncle, you yourself are quite irresponsible. You struggle to look after your family itself. You struggle to look after your children, your wife, and your overall engagement. And here, oh, don't worry. And then mehuna. So this mehuna mentality, to consider that, okay, this is like a doer mentality. I can sort this out, I will do this and all. So we have to move ourselves, shift ourselves from a doer mentality towards a user mentality. We want to be used by Krishna. Yes, we want. ऐसा नहीं है कि हम बढ़िया नहीं करना चाहते. We want to do good, surely. But we want to be used by Krishna. Arjuna did the greatest thing, na? But not on his own worth, not on his own merit, not on his self-dependency. He was used by Krishna. Everything is resting on Krishna, na? पुरुष तो एक ही है. पुरुष वास्तव में पर्सन मेल पुरुष मतलब एंजॉयर. तो अकेले ईश्वर है कृष्णा. पुरुष एंजॉयर तो एक ही है कृष्णा. Harasabhritya. Rest everyone is a servant only. So we all are Prakriti, as in feminine by nature. As in we are all meant to cater to the joy of Krishna. Again, this could be a bit hard to digest for someone. When we understand actually Krishna as he is, when we chant his holy names and all, we would die to serve him. We would want to serve him, and we'll enjoy that so much of peace and enjoyment through serving Krishna and serving Krishna. So what again leads to stress is this mentality that I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, and what? That I am the doer. This is good to be in the mode of goodness that, okay, you leave it to me, I will help you. I have a request, okay, send me a request and consider it done. To the other person, when someone hears like this, they say, if I say someone, oh, Prabhuji, or dear sir, I have this request, please could you look into it? Yeah, sure, you will send me a request and consider it done. Go home now and take rest. You can put your feet up, take rest, easy. Say, I've got it. So it helps, it gives me confidence, it boosts my assurance and gives me support. But we should never understand in our consciousness that, okay, I am the doer and I can change the table, turn the table for him and all. We want to be to be used by Krishna's energy. We want to be doer in that capacity, to be used by Krishna's energy. Because we live again in this controlling mentality, in this enjoying mentality, in this doer mentality, which means we are paving the path for stress for ourselves. We are digging the hole, or the more we consider ourselves to be the doer, the more we will experience stress in life. Because why? I am the doer. I am the doer. I am guilty now. I didn't do it right. I get this guilt. I am the doer, it's not working. I am the doer, it has worked. Again, so all this is to dig up this hole of stress for us. The more I put myself in doer mentality, the more stress I will experience. The more I situate myself in this enjoyer mentality, the more stress I will get. And we can see this in our studies life, jobs. Why is there so much of stress in job? Because we put ourselves in the doer mentality, in the controlling mentality, in the enjoyment mentality. Oh, I should be enjoying. First of all, I studied so hard. I put in so much of energy, efforts. And I want to do this and that. And then if I do not get this done, it will be blockage to my enjoyment. So much of priorities and so much of things we have laid down. It's a very dependent sort of happiness we experience in life. Why dependent? Because we are dependent on X, Y, Z, so many factors. If all those are ticked, only then we will experience happiness. Otherwise not. This is what material thought process, consciousness, happiness is. Depending on everything other than Krishna. Spiritual happiness means depending only on Krishna. That doesn't mean we are blind, oblivious, fools, we are idiots, we are stupids, we are no knowers of other things. No. Those who are devotees, they are extremely intelligent. They know how to live in this world, they know how to deal in this world, how to deal with this world, and they know how to be living in this world yet not be of this world, and they very well know how to quit this world. They very well know how to exit this world. without any getting their hands dirty. That's real intelligence. Otherwise, living in materialist consciousness, we are just getting our hands further more dirty, further more dirty. Krishna is very much helping us here, saying like, look, I am God and you are not. When we get to know, wow, so peace, wow, I better not start acting as God. Oh, don't worry, I will help you. Oh, I will get things in control. I'll be the controller. It's so relieving to know that Krishna is in control. Krishna is the controller. Krishna is the enjoyer. Oh, wow, I don't need to worry now. Because so much of pressure in this enjoyment mentality. If I consider myself to be the enjoyer, then I need to look a certain way. I need to sound a certain way. I need to act in a certain way. I have to have these things. Otherwise, how do I enjoy? Huh? There's so many nights outs and parties and this and that things, no? So much of peer pressure. Why? At such young age, children in school, college, university, young boys and girls having peer pressure, social pressure, internet pressure, online pressure, this pressure, that pressure. When I was growing up, the only pressure I heard or kind of could relate to was study pressure, exam pressure, that sort of thing. Not much peer pressure, certainly nothing like online pressure uh, or things like that, no. But now, so much of peer pressure, so much of validation. I want to look good so that the other person can validate me and say, yes, oh wow, he's so good looking, she's so good looking, he's so smart, she's so smart, he's so caring, she's so caring. So that, yes, I get this assurance or reassurance or validation to look good for others. No, we should try to look good for Krishna, not for others. And when we try to look good for Krishna, then automatically we will be looking good for others. Automatically. No one will have any problem with a saintly person. No. Saintly person is everyone's friend, well-wisher. Why? Because he is in touch with Krishna. He's been graced by the energy of Krishna. He's not in this doer mentality, rather he's in this mentality to be Mam Niyukta Atmadasya. Exactly living by that mentality. And that brings us a sense of fearlessness. Real fearlessness is when we depend on Krishna, when we take shelter of Krishna. But when we live by this notion, if I have this much control, I will be fearless. I can overcome fear when I have more control. No, when we give more control to Krishna, then we can be out of fear. Again, Arjuna, he gave full control to Krishna, not only look after the reins of his chariot horses, but his life proper. And through that, he fought fearlessly. Otherwise, it is no, can a moral person kill his relatives, friends, family members, and see all this war and all? No, he fought valiantly, fearlessly, because he let Krishna to be in full control. So this shloka is so peace-giving. It's the real massaging, real putting of balm on our burning chest. When we know I'm not the controller, I'm not the enjoyer. Otherwise, so much of pressure again to get this controllership, to be always in control, to always be enjoying. So much of pressure. Look, when we see, especially in Western society, these night outs or these things, the way girls dress, the way boys dress, and so much heavy pressure to look good, to sound good, to show good. Oh yes, I have this car, I have this thing. Again, there's no harm in having a car, house, wife, family, money and all. But when we understand who all it belongs to, the same thing. In a job, the owner is receiving the profit. And what do we receive? The employees, they receive salary. So likewise in life, when we work to bring joy to Krishna, we will receive grace of Krishna. And that is more than enough to saturate us. Stress is predominantly when we put ourselves to be the controller, when we put ourselves to be the enjoyer, when we think ourselves to be the doer. And opposite of stress is peace, when we let Krishna to be the supreme controller, because he is. Because he is. When stress comes when we swap roles. Stress is because of lack of knowledge. Say in studies, we have to write some exam, but I feel stressed. Why? Because I've not studied, I do not know this subject. You have to cook some preparations, guests are coming. You feel stressed. Why? Because this is a new place, I don't know this house, I don't have grocery items, or I don't know how to cook this preparation, make this dish, and it's very precious situation. Stress comes when you have to fight against time, get some dish prepared in half an hour, which we know I'm a bit slow, I need more time. Then stress comes. Is it not? So this is when we are in lack of knowledge, then stress comes, or when we are circumstantially, situation-wise, when we are a bit put in a demanding position, then stress comes. But lack of knowledge of what? Likewise, when we experience stress, when we are in lack of knowledge, what? Of Krishna's position. And when we wrongly, falsely consider ourselves to be the enjoyer, to be the controller, and to be the doers or masters. But when we change this knowledge, when we come to this knowledge, get this clear knowledge that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, Krishna is the supreme controller, Krishna is the supreme friend, the well-wisher, the doer, the helper, the guide, the mentor, then we feel so relieved. Oh my God, yes, thank God I'm not the counselor, I'm not the guide, I'm not the mentor. We take on that role if need be, but everything with this service mode, service attitude in care of. Material nature is serving the cause of Krishna. Even a bacteria is under the complete control and jurisdiction of Krishna, and every living entity is functioning by their role. Bacteria is helping in the process of making yogurt and other things. So everyone is living by their role. But us humans, we may not be, we are not actually living by our role altogether. And this is such a blessing of Krishna. Krishna is telling us that, okay, I take the stress out of you. You are not the supreme enjoyer. It's a bit hard to digest perhaps, but when we practice Krishna consciousness, we want Krishna to be the supreme enjoyer. Yes. We want Krishna to be the supreme controller. It suits him, it befits him. That's his natural position. And our natural position is what? To love and serve Krishna. Krishna is the only master, the only Purush, the only enjoyer. We are all feminine by nature. Generally, it is observed, someone in male body, he has a controlling nature. Generally, it is observed, right? A male body, someone, he has a controlling nature. And someone who is in female body, she has this nature of being like the queen. Queen, like I'm the queen, I should be getting, say, all the attention or that sort of thing. So for us, we have to give up both this nature, this controlling nature, and also queen, meaning that king should enjoy me only, no one else. That sort of thing. So generally in female body, that it is me only. That sort of mentality. So queen has this mentality, right? That rest all are maid servants, they are there to help me and all, and the king. But the king is really enjoying me, no one else, just me. So someone in female body has this consciousness, no one else, just me. Or we certainly live in this consciousness. This is where stress, competition, everything, we want to outbid, outsmart someone, get control over things, become enjoyer. So because of this role reversal, we are stressing ourselves out. And the peace formula is when we let Krishna be as he is. Surely Krishna is being as he is. We cannot take that away. This is why the law of nature and material nature is there, sorting us out through karmic reactions. So much of suffering we are experiencing, trying to be enjoyers. So a short, again, see how much practical this is. A short story Prabhupada explains, beautiful, very knowledge giving. So a child, a child, he loses his parents, he separates with his parents, he loses the custody of his parents in an exhibition, in a fair, in a mela. There's a big event, there's a big festival, big exhibition, fair, mela, and the child is somehow loses, separates from his parents. He lost contact with his parents. Now the child is alone, sitting on a bench, say, on his own, and alone sitting on a bench on his own. He just maybe knows his name. He doesn't know his father's phone number. He doesn't know his parents' residence address. He doesn't know other details like that. So in that situation, what would you do? This is a question. If you see a child is seemingly lost in a park, in an exhibition, in a fair, not in contact with his parents, and what people say, like, right, what best can we do, what service? And this is more on practical side now. How practical? So people very much say, right, okay, no, we want to do something practical. This yoga, meditation, or this Krishna consciousness, this chanting, how is it practical? Do something practical to the society. What? Help in energy bills, help, go for that demonstration, go for that protest, stop that bill, introduce this bill. These are practical issues we are solving in the society. We need to, before we go into, I ask that question, the first question is, tell me one issue which we have resolved in this world. One issue, any one issue, on finance, health, social, economic, border security, education, any one issue which we have resolved. Inferiority, superiority complex, racism, how much we have gained control over diseases, eradicated diseases altogether. You know, a disease like polio, it is still prevalent in 5 countries of the world, at least 5. Even though we have vaccines, but still prevalent in at least 5 countries in the world. So on what front can we say, okay, we have resolved this issue, that issue? 2 countries which have always neighboring countries and all, which have always been in peace. What is that country recently went into war? I don't know even still now. But Armenia, a very small country, and another small country, neighboring only. The name isn't coming. In pandemic or a bit before pandemic, they went actually into war. Before that, talks were going on, and then Armenia and another country, Russia, Ukraine, Syria, and throughout in conflict. Palestine, Israel, India, Pakistan, India, China. So much of border issues, Turkey and Greece and places, France, England, some border issues, and others. So Yemen, throughout in conflict. Sudan, very much in conflict. So any issue which we think, or again, when we go out doing books, some people say, oh no, we want to do something practical in life. This isn't so practical. And there we see people, marketing people and all, they will be in city center, in streets and all, putting up their company's thing. So we are this energy bill, or we are from this charity, that charity. Apparently it is deemed what? Oh, these charitable people, they are doing the groundwork, the real work, and they will come up with so many stats: water problem, child education problem, clothing problem and all. So if you give us charity, there won't be water problem. We are working on water problem. This is a dire need, dire situation. So much we have resolved, and with your generous effort, we will come through it, we'll pull it. So much of training these people get, so much of training these people get to go into city center and speak with others, how to engage them, how to stop them, how to engage them, how to get some donation out of them on energy bills. So, okay, take it as a question and let us know, if not today, tomorrow, any one issue which we have resolved, any one issue which we have resolved in this world. Now, coming back to that again story, a child, he loses contact with his parents, and you see him, he's in a mela, in an exhibition affairs and garden with his parents. Everyone, it's very busy. He loses contact with his parents. You see him sitting on a bench. The child, at the most, he knows his name, no more than that. He doesn't know his dad's contact number, his parents' residence, or anything for that matter. What would you do when you see that child? Anuja knows the answer, so she need not answer maybe. But what would you do, Harsha, Neha, others, when you see a child? How would you want to help him? First of all, would you want to help him?
Yeah, I would like to help him. Firstly, make him
now
or
tell
her
us
feel comfortable.
practically, how would you want to help him? I love this word, practical. Many people say, oh, Prabhu, this is not practical. Practically tell me, how do I control my mind? How do you control my mind? Oh, chant Hare Krishna, mind will be controlled. No, tell me something practically. How do I do? I mean, how, with some complication, with some this and that and all, I control my mind. I want some practical answers. Give me some practical solution. Our practical solution is read Bhagavad Gita and chant Hare Krishna. Associate with devotees. Listen to Krishna's Vani. Listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the most practical thing. Honor Krishna Prasadam. This is the only real practical thing. But no, we people, no, Prabhuji, tell me something practical. So go on, Harsha. Give us a practical reply, practical response answer. How to best help the child.
Well, firstly, make the child comfortable, feed some food or something. And later on, I would definitely think of announcing his name on the speaker so that their parents can listen and, come over and take him home.
Okay, nice. Any more? Neha, madam?
Bhaiya, I'll go near the child, ask him if he's hungry or thirsty, and maybe ask where does he live, if he knows about it, or what's his parents' name. And then, yeah, if he's lost somewhere, then I'm going to announce in whatever way his parents can reach him.
And Madam Anuja, anything to add? Anyone else? Anyone wants to say anything?
Not really, Ashish.
So see how people would approach this child. One person approaches the child, one sees, oh, Chunnu, mera beta, hai na? So Sonu, Monu, Ronu, oh, young boy, sitting alone in a bench, oh, crying, you must be hungry. You must be hungry, okay? I give you jalebi, I give you this donut, I give you donut, I give you jalebi, take this, eat this halwa, I give you samosa, I give you this pancake, eat, and take this ice cream. And he pays for the person, for the child's, the boys, and feeds his belly, gives him a good dinner, say, good lunch, good dinner, and he pays for it and he moves on. He leaves the child there. So he done something good for the child. He helped the child. Another person comes and says, "Oh, child, you are crying. What do you need? Food? No, no, no. I am full now. I've been fed. Okay, so why are you crying? I lost contact with my parents. I know some children struggle to say. No, he might struggle to say as well. Why am I crying? Don't know. It's just I'm feeling uncomfortable, unhappy. My mind is not fine. What's wrong? I don't know. Okay, okay. So you don't need any food? You have been fed? Okay, what else can I do? Okay, fine. There's so many rides here. Maybe you will enjoy going in these rides. In an exhibition, in a mela, in a fair. There's so many rides here. Come, I will take you into this ride. Come, we will go in that, play that bowling, play pool, play this gun game here, shooting game here. Let's go into that ride and also this second man comes and he takes that boy into 10 different rides. Come this 3D show, I will show you. So he takes them into 10 different such a entertainment, entertainment and all, and tries to make him happy, make him smile. Come, I will show you this show, that show, and this will make you happy, this will make you smile. And then he leaves the boy. Okay, fine, I done my bit. And the boy was unhappy, and I tried to make him happy through doing this. I did good for the boy. Another man comes. Okay, oh, you have this problem, you have been fed, but you have nowhere to stay. Come, okay, so in this exhibition, there are tents and all. I will book up a bed for you. Let me reserve a bed for you. You can stay for the night. I will give you clothes as well. You don't seem to have clothes. I know, I understand what your problem is. I know your problem, exactly what you are suffering. I will give you the solution. What you need dress, I will arrange dress for you. You need toothbrush, toothpaste, I will arrange that for you. You need a bed, I will arrange a tent for you. You can sleep in the tent for 7 days. I will arrange food for you. Then you need education, young boy, you need education. So I will get you enrolled in a school, in this summer camp, in this summer school, and you can get learning here. You can get education, vocational training, you can get life skill training, practical training. And through this education, then you can find a job and be on your feet and be successful. All this so much. So this third parent comes and does this thing. So makes the child happy. This is all to make you happy, my son. Don't worry, I've got things in control. I'll make you happy. So he does this thing. Then a fourth person comes. He witnesses, he sees, okay, the child been fed, the child been made, given entertainment, and the child been given some stay, roti kapda makan vyavastha, sort of the child being given some food, some shelter, some lodging, some learning, some education, some life skills, some engagement, and all these things. But the child is unhappy. Why? The child is struggling to say, but this fourth person, he knows the child is unhappy. Why? Because he has lost contact with his parents. So there's a lost and found booth here. I'll go register. I'll call the police. I'll call the authority. So we'll draw a sketch of his mom and dad. Child, can you let us know what your mom and dad look like? We'll draw a sketch of your mom and dad. We'll make announcement in the booth, and we'll put your photograph as well with your mom and dad sketch as well. And we'll make announcement in the booth. This boy wearing red top and blue pant, blue trousers. He's this much height. His name is this. He lost his parents. Someone who are his guardian parents. Can you come over and take custody of your boy? And also we'll print your photographs and your mom and dad's photograph, and we'll circulate it. We'll get the police as well. So don't you worry, child. And in the meantime, there's this thing, arrangement for your food and these things and all. So these 4 people came in this child's life. Who did the most practical help to the child? Who did the most practical service? Hare Krishna. Who did the most practical service for the child? The first person who came in the child's life only helped the child's belly, only helped his body, gave nourishment for his body only. That, okay, you are hungry, have this food. Did charity, but for the body only. The second person who came in the child's life also helped the child, but what? Just some entertainment. Okay, so you get some enjoyment. I help you. You are a bit lost. You have been fed, but you more than for the hunger for the body, we need some social engagement. We need some social fun. I give you social fun. That enjoyment. Then third person came in the child's life. Okay, you've been fed, you have been given some social fun, but you need some life skill engagement. So you need some mental, intellectual satisfaction. So I will provide that for you. The fourth person comes. He doesn't really look much into the child's food status, that have you been fed or not, your social engagement, social entertainment status, social fun status, or your life skill engagement for that matter, whether you've been getting education and this and that. But he looks straight on, child, what is your identity? Who do you belong to? You belong to your mom and dad, but you are a lost child now. So let me make all efforts to connect or reconnect to your mom and dad. Let me get you in contact with your mom and dad, with your parents. Now, if you meet your parents will certainly look the best for you. The parents can provide you food as well. The parents can provide you house as well, shelter as well. The parents can provide you education as well, your mental, social entertainment, everything. Your egoistically demands, intellectual appeal, mental appeal, mind, food, body, all such everything the parents can easily sort it out, happily do it for you. And you would be peaceful for the rest of your life. So the fourth person is actually the most practical help, the most practical service towards the boy. He helped him connect the boy with his parents. That's the thing. And this is the practical service Krishna consciousness is doing, helping each and every soul connect with Krishna, helping each and every soul know, first of all, what is their real identity, who they are, whose they are, and help them connect with Krishna. Otherwise, there are hundreds of charities. Where is that charity which is working for the soul? Where is the charity of the soul? There's so much of charity for the body, for the mind, for the intelligence. And what about the soul? No, none as such. Very few. And how much of stress, how much of effort, how much of it is considered that this is the highest charitable act, this Krishna consciousness, this sloka, this message of Krishna is the highest charitable Krishna is doing upon us. So much freeing us actually from stress, giving us real peace. This is the highest charity, to connect a soul with Krishna. And this is the role we are supposed to be playing. This is what devotees have, this role, have this responsibility. This is the most practical thing we can do actually. And if this is done, we wouldn't have food scarcity, we wouldn't have water scarcity, we wouldn't have social economic problems, these issues, this gender gap, pay gap, and also gap in respect between men and women. They wouldn't really be there in society. There wouldn't be so much of penetrating or causing chaos and conflicting society when we all understand who we are and whose we are. So this is the practical help we can do to ourselves and whosoever comes in our contact, in our lives. Otherwise, we all are lost child. We all are helpless. So let Krishna, who he is the supreme enjoyer, the supreme controller, is the supreme well-wisher. And because we want to put ourselves in this situation, we experience stress. So if we shift ourselves from in control of mentality to in care of, then we will experience real peace. Now, when we know this shloka and understand, live by this, then real peace, so peace that I don't have to be the center of all. Some people, when they get married, oh wow, the groom and the bride center and all, everyone, what is she wearing, what is he wearing, what do they look and all. And then a year after, oh thank God, we are not getting married today. We don't have to be the center of all. So peace. Otherwise, it's so difficult being in the center. The most troublesome thing is to be in the center, because you are looked from all angles, all corners, expectations from all angles, all corners, all eyes on you. Limelight, spotlight. And we cannot afford this. Only Krishna can afford this. Yeah? So let Krishna be in the center. In my personal life, if I allow Krishna to be in the center of my life, I will be ever happy, ever peaceful. But if I try to take ownership in that sense, oh, I have to take some ownership, I have to be the controller, I have to be the enjoyer, or I have to do this good and all, then I'm putting myself in stress. Okay, any thoughts, question or comment? Okay, I think on this note, we'll leave it here. There's lots to share, lots can be said surely in this shloka over and over again for days on end. But personally, I have limitations.
Bhaiya, I have a question. So, like the example you gave about a child. So if I have to imagine that I found some child like in that situation, the only thing will come in my mind is what I asked, like, is he fed properly? Where are his parents? Like being a mother, emotion comes. So the other person whom you said is doing the right thing by giving him a purpose in life because he's a lost child. So if we are not able to think that way, that means we are not, like, we are still very much connected to the material world and not to Krishna.
Yeah. So see now, 4 people came in his life. One, straight away, okay, oh, the child is crying. Why? Don't know. Okay, must be hungry. Let me feed him. Oh, and the child can be distracted easily, right? So the child, okay, crying. Oh, child, come, take this gulab jamun, take this barfi, take this donut, take this ice cream. So child is distracted, and child takes the ice cream and he smiles then. He washes his tears away and he's happy. So the man thinks, okay, I've helped the child. And then we go on propagating. Oh, you see, you have to feed the people. People are hungry. Let us feed the people. Feed the people. Poor people, let's help them. Who is poor, Baba? Not just physically or financially poor. Poor is in knowledge of Krishna. That's the most striking poverty. So the first person, he had this thing and he helped the child, fed him, and he thought, okay, this is the highest service, to feed the child. Then another person came, oh, the child needs some social entertainment. So let me do some charity on him, spend some money and then get him some social entertainment, bring smile on his face. There are many people, many charities. This Christmas, bring a smile on someone's face. Now buy this and gift it to someone. Make them bring a smile on people's face. This Christmas, bring a smile on people's face. How long? And are we really connecting the root cause of the problem? No. So the third person came. He said, oh no, the child needs shelter actually. Let me do some practical work here for the child. The child needs shelter. The child needs food. And the child needs some learning. Okay, so I do all this arrangement. You be happy, my son. But the son doesn't know who does he belong to, what is his identity. The fourth person came. Externally looking, the fourth person didn't look much, didn't care much, didn't work much on feeding the child. He didn't care much on giving social entertainment. He didn't care much, okay, let me get into education, let me do this and all. His heavy emphasis was on where, okay, child, let us get your, let us go to this lost and found counter. Let us register your name. Let us contact the authorities, the police. Try and let us draw a sketch of your mom and dad. Let us print your photograph. Let us circulate. We help you find your mom and dad. And once we find your, connect you with your parents, you will be happy forever. So, thing being, once we connect ourselves to Krishna, once we help a soul connect to Krishna, then that child can experience peace forever. Otherwise, we are very much, if we are helping someone food-wise, we are helping someone's belly only, body only, no? Okay, body needs body is hungry, needs some food. Body is in fever, needs some medicine. But who are we caring for? Body only, the mind only, giving some mental sense pleasure, entertainment and all. In pandemic time, there were so many people coming, right? Okay, on YouTube, because it's lockdown, because it's pandemic, I will do a free show for you. I will give a free stand-up comedy to you. Oh, he's such a laughter champion. He has made so many people laugh, bring laughter in so many people's life. So yeah, helping out, very practical, is it not? Practically, I'm helping the society. But are we practically helping the society, giving them real knowledge, or are we practically putting the society in illusion? So this, in lockdown time, yeah, people are suffering. I will charge less in lockdown time, and I will put up a good entertainment show. I will do a stand-up comedy for you for free. This seminar, that seminar, and all. And then someone's like, furthermore, some intellectual requirement, this requirement. But the requirement of the soul proper, the soul is hankering to connect with Krishna. Soul is hankering to be in that relationship with Krishna. And once that is sorted, then all the material resources, there won't be any limitation, there won't be any scarcity. No. Everything is in ample once we connect ourselves with Krishna. Does that help, Neha?
Yes, Bhaiya.
But if we do not connect ourselves with Krishna, then we will always find ourselves in scarcity. Every now and then there will be something missing. Then we will be living this world, but with some unfulfilled business, unfulfilled desires, unfulfilled agenda, unfulfilled thoughts and all. Then we will be living this world as a debtor. Okay, Anuja, what were you saying?
I mean, you were talking about that entertainment thing. People come up and make somebody laugh. It's all momentary in the sense, till the time we are watching, we are engrossed in that. That's fine. But once we come out of it, and when reality hits, then we get to know, oh, back to normal life. And stress, we have accepted stress, this as our normal life. This has been so normal for us.
Yeah, but it will not stay normal, no? This is why when
Yes.
devotees enter our life, then that's the real divine intervention. That's the real divine intervention. This is the role. This is why Krishna is playing a multi-role for Arjuna. He's acting as a devotee as well. He's acting as a spiritual master for sure. And everything. God for sure. So we need not sidetrack. Sometimes distraction is okay. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes temporary. People say, no, oh, I find happiness in small things, make me happy and all. Okay, that's fine sometimes. But that's not real the requirement of saturation of the soul. Saturation of the soul is in a loving relationship with Krishna. It's in a living in a pure loving relationship with Krishna. That is what will gave the soul. We have to see everything from Krishna's perspective. That is love. That is love. Everything from Krishna's perspective. Whatever Krishna desires, whatever he wants. Everything for the pleasure of Guru and Gaura. Arjuna allowed himself, he fought for Krishna's joy only. Okay. Thank you very much for your patient listening and encouragement. We meet up tomorrow. Any other thoughts, questions, or comments? Okay, leave it here. Meet up tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare